When the PlayStation Classic first came out costing $100, I was probably one of the harshest critics there were because of all the asinine things Sony did to botch something that should have been easier than hooking up with my slutty uncle. But when the price eventually dropped down to $40, I ended up caving and picking one up, and to be honest, I felt a little guilty about it. However, now that the price dropped all the way down to $20 friggin', you'd be insane not to pick one up if you ever had any interest in it at all. Why is that, you ask? Well, sit back in your YouTube viewing chair, borrow your uncle's car, and return it on E as a goof. Press the subscribe button if you haven't already, and allow me, the world's greatest repo man Cameron, to tell you why it's okay to buy the PlayStation Classic console for $20. Alright, so excluding the people from the Church of Raspberry Pi and people who've always hated Sony in general, everybody was initially excited when the PlayStation Classic was first revealed. But then with every new detail we learned about it before launch, the excitement faded faster than my ex-wife Chili's intentions of honoring our marriage. And ever since its release, the PlayStation Classic's been tainted to most people, including myself, who swore they'd never ever buy one. After all, whenever a company makes a mistake, you want to rub their nose in it, not buy the product in question anyway. But as much joy as it brought me to see the piles of display sitting on the shelf at Circuit City, I think Sony's learned their lesson at this point. And as much of a missed opportunity as the PlayStation Classic was, it's not like it's the absolute worst trash in the history of the universe. I mean, just as long as it's not $100 anyway. I mean, the game selection's not ideal, the menus they tried playing off as retro are just flat out depressing to look at, and the fact that some of the games included are the PAL versions is hilarious. But if we're being honest, the console itself's actually well made, a lot of the games included were great, and even though they didn't use the DualShock controller, they did end up including 2 controllers, and they both feel pretty good. If you're comparing the PS1 Mini to Nintendo's consoles, then obviously it doesn't stand a chance, but it's not like it's irredeemable like the ones made by AtGames. I mean, Persona 1 alone's worth $20 considering how much that game goes for on eBay these days. And I haven't gotten around to doing it yet, but it's to my understanding that hacking's pretty easy to do as long as you're okay with not playing Ape Escape or 2-player games. At the very least, it's easy to change the games from PAL to NTSC anyway. But if you still feel dirty about the idea of supporting the PlayStation Classic in any way, then don't. Because even if it sells out in a few minutes at $20, it's not going to trick Sony into thinking they did the right thing. At this point, they're just trying to lose as little money as possible, and I doubt they're going to make another classic console till the bad taste is washed out of everyone's asses.
And you're just giving them, huh?
If Sony initially announced the PlayStation Classic and told us right off the bat that the price would be $20 or even $40 before revealing the botches, I think people would have been a lot more forgiving. But because of people like me burying it up and down on the internet for costing $100, it doesn't matter that the price is $20 now. Most people would still rather be caught buying porn or the unrated director's cut of Fred the Movie. Or hell, probably even both. I'm not trying to sound like a salesman or anything, and Sony's definitely not paying my fat ass to plug their $20 failed product. I'm just trying to be fair and point a good deal out when I see it. Like I said, if you already didn't care about the PS1 or even mini consoles in general, then you probably wouldn't even accept this for free. But if you're into retro gaming or collecting it all, then it's hard to think of many better ways to spend $20. I mean, it's cheaper than buying an original PS1 and all the games individually, and aside from the PAL versions, which is almost half the games on here, everything else plays just fine to me, including the 2 most popular titles on here, Final Fantasy VII and Metal Gear Solid. I mean, at least they remember to put Meryl's codec frequency on the box so it actually makes sense when she tells you in the game. And on a side note, I feel like after all these years, Konami doesn't get enough credit for making sure that's on the back of every release of this game. Anyway, I really don't have a whole lot else to say on this, but while I'm glad nobody bought this at full price, the fact is, we already won, and I really don't think it makes you a hypocrite to buy a flawed product as long as there's enough positives to justify the price. And all things considered, I think the PlayStation Classic console is worth $20 as long as you either like the PlayStation 1, retro gaming in general, or Classic Edition consoles. Although, I do feel awful for the people who bought one at full price, and I'm so glad I canceled my pre-order. And I will admit, it's pretty crappy of Sony to punish the early adopters immediately. Whether you buy it at $20 or not though, Sony's sure to put their full effort into it next time if there ever is one. And if you ask me, I do think someday they will release an awesome PS1 or PS2 mini, even though I think it probably wouldn't be for at least another decade or so. But I'll tell you 2 people who deserve their own mini consoles released in their honor are today's patrons of the day, Aaron Ayala and Epic Gamer Noob. If you want to help this channel out like these badasses, then consider checking our Patreon out for loot boxes and silly rewards. Or if you'd rather show support by picking a shirt or mug up, then send pictures of videos of you rocking it to make a cameo like these badasses right here. What do you guys think about the PlayStation Classic only being $20 now, though? Are you gonna cave, are you gonna stick to your guns, or are you one of the poor souls who already bought one at full price? Either way, let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll try my goddamnedest to respond to everybody. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell to see more videos like this. And if you want to help this channel grow, then simply liking and sharing goes a long way. My name's Cameron, and I'll see you next time.
So I want to say thank you to your loyalty, thank you for your support.